Hi there, it's Mark and Jules, creators of the multi-award winning Future Toolbox here. And today we're going to talk about internal and external factors that affect our business.
Yeah. Now, understanding your market is quite crucial, because if you understand what your customers want and what you're delivering, then you're going to keep your customers happy. They're going to keep coming back and they'll want more of your services. So we have three different kind of types of customers. We have schools, the people that work in the schools and the funding agencies. We have students, because obviously they're in the session, and obviously the parents as well. So we have three different types of customers for our schoolwork. But what about with the books?
Yeah, so again, our readers, it's really important to make sure that we engage those. The reason behind that is to get good reviews, and getting a review on a site, say like Amazon, is like gold dust to an author. Now, the thing with the book is, if you buy a copy of our book and read it, you're not going to say, I really like that book, I'm going to buy another copy of it. But then somebody's going to read that review, think this is a really good book, I need to read it too, so they'll make the purchase.
Now, something else that's really, really important is planning. Now, it does sound a little bit boring, but it is the most important thing in running a business, because if you don't plan your day, your week, what you're going to do, then, as the saying goes, you're planning to fail. So, for example, if we're going into a school, we will always speak to the school beforehand, find out exactly what it is that they want, what session that they want, what age group, what the demographics of the school, the area, everything that we need to know, so that we can then tailor make that session for that particular year group or class. Then obviously we'll put it all together. We do what we call a plan, do, review. Is we'll plan it, we'll actually do the session, which is always the best bit, and then we'll review it just to make sure that it went well and get obviously any sort of feedback. So yeah, if you don't plan, then it could all go very, very wrong. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about planning what our sessions are, but it's planning our business, and that includes the finances, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So one of the biggest bits of advice I was given, the best bits of advice I was given in the early days, is to understand cash flow and profit. And if you understand cash flow, probably put it in the easiest terms, it's about not spending more money than you have. If you overspend in your business, then you could end up getting into quite some difficult situations. So yeah, making sure that the balance sheets are right. Obviously, running a business is about bottom line profit. So putting forecasts together at the start of the year, working out what type of work you need to do, how much of it you need to do in order to hit that profit line and run a successful business.
Now, another area that we've spoken about before is marketing. Now, it's one of those things that is crucial, because if you don't market and don't put out what you're doing and what your offer is, how are people going to know what you do? How are they going to find you? So yeah, marketing's fairly crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So we've worked very closely with a marketing agency and some marketing experts in the past, and another great piece of advice we were given was to be consistent in your message. So just about the time that you're getting bored of repeating your message, people are starting to notice what you're saying. If you watch the TV and you see adverts on there, you probably get very bored of the adverts, but you certainly remember them. So that's a great example of why that works.
So as we mentioned before, it is just the two of us that run the Future Toolbox. So we don't have an HR department or employ people. However, there are circumstances, unforeseen circumstances that happen, for example, like illnesses and just family matters that we have to deal with. And it can be quite challenging for us in that respect. Mm-hmm. And we have a good example for you.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, we were running a session, I should say, in a local school. And I had a really sore throat at the start of the day. By halfway through the session, my voice had completely gone. So I actually had to hand over to Jules to deliver the rest of the session on her own, and we weren't able to really communicate that way. So it was really important to flex, and I was then able to go and work with the students on a one-to-one basis, but the main delivery had to come from Jules. So there's a number of external factors that also affect running our business. One major expense for us when we're travelling and we're able to visit locations is petrol and accommodation. And something that we don't have any hold over is how much the government are going to charge for petrol. So it could be 99p a litre, it could be £1.40 a litre. It would be nice, wouldn't it? So two big expenses for us there.
Yeah, sure. And there's other things like marketing costs. We spoke about marketing a little bit earlier, but those costs, if you buy it in, can be quite expensive. And so there's memberships, fees, and all sorts of different things. So yeah, that's something that we have to consider when we're looking at our marketing, is the costs, really, isn't it?
Indeed. Regulations, not really many regulations we have to work towards apart from taxation rules and laws, VAT laws, submitting your tax return online. But one thing that's quite key for us is to be DBS checked. So that basically means we're checked by the police so we can visit schools.
So you'll be in safe hands with us. Something else that we're aware of is there could be change from our competitors. They could start something new that we haven't thought about, and so it's always something that we need to be aware of and keep our eye on. So if they begin something new, whether it's something that we should maybe start thinking of and having a little look at, maybe.
Yeah, see if they're doing something better than us. And then a big one over the time of lockdowns and COVID restrictions was a major impact on many businesses, and it certainly impacted ours. So March 2020, we were completely cancelled and unable to visit any schools for the rest of that year up until July. Schools restarted again in September and then reclosed again in January 2021. So major impact on our business. But we were then in a position to spend the time moving all of our content online to interactive platforms and webinar style workshops. So definitely a challenge, that one.
Huge challenge. And then obviously there's things like changes to consumer behaviour and demographics and all that sort of thing. So for example, there's always constant changes with social media and marketing. You know, when as soon as you've got your handle on how to do Instagram, and then they bring something else out, or there's Snapchat, or there's TikTok, and all the rest of it. So yeah, that has a massive impact on us, because which ones do we choose to do? Which ones are right for our business, and which ones do we feel comfortable doing as well? So yeah, they're big external factors in what we do with our marketing, aren't they?
So there's some external impacts on our business, but there are some things that haven't really affected us. So Brexit's quite a big topic, and
Or was,
yeah. Since we've come out of the EU, we haven't really noticed any impact on the Future Toolbox as such. There was European social funding that we was eligible for in the past, and that was changed over to a UK-based funding pot, which we were still eligible for, and thankfully got some funding to change our website. So not a major impact there, really.
No. And then there's things like inflation rates and exchange rates, that because we don't have big business loans or anything like that, so the inflation rate, which affects obviously the interest rate on loans and that, doesn't have an effect on our particular business. But obviously people with big businesses and have big business loans, then yes, that will make a huge impact. And things like exchange rates, because again, we don't have a product or anything that we sell abroad, then the exchange rates, they don't affect us. The only time that affects us is when we want to go on holiday. Then I'll look at the exchange rates of where we're going.
Yeah, any books that we sell in international countries generally go through Amazon, and Amazon do all the conversions for us there. So it's not really a major issue. Any exchange in currency, it's normally pence. So we don't tend to worry too much about that, do we? One more is consumer legislation. And as mentioned before, other than being DBS checked by the police, being able to visit schools, we don't really have anything else other than that to follow, and obviously taxation laws.
No, that's right. And again, it's because we're not creating a product. We're not selling a product. We're selling workshops. So therefore, consumer legislation, that people are not buying what we're doing to eat or paint their house with or do anything like that. So we're not really covered by that consumer legislation. So I think that's quite a good thing, maybe. I don't know.
It's good for us. And final one is raw materials and raw costs. As Jules says, because we don't make anything, then there's no real issues with that.